tonight, President Biden has given Ukraine permission to use U.S.-made long-range missiles to attack targets inside Russia. It's a move that some fear could escalate the war. Others say it could help Ukraine at the negotiating table eventually. Chief National Security Correspondent Jennifer Griffin has details tonight from the Pentagon.
Ukraine. President Biden's decision to lift restrictions on Ukraine's use of American-made long-range strike weapons, known as ATACMS, was spurred by the Russian decision to invite 10,000 North Korean soldiers to fight against Ukraine in Kursk, in western Russia, along Ukraine's border. Facing ongoing missile strikes and the possibility of losing more ground, President Zelensky applauded the long-awaited decision.
Much is being said in the media about us receiving permissions for the relevant actions. The missiles will speak for themselves. Glory to Ukraine.
The Kremlin warned the policy shift would add fuel to the fire, echoing Putin's warning in September.
This will mean that NATO countries, the United States, and the European Union are at war with Russia. And if so, we will make decisions according to the threats facing us.
ATACMS stands for Army Tactical Missile System. It is a supersonic ballistic missile that can strike targets up to 190 miles away and carries a warhead with 375 pounds of explosives. It can reach further into Russia than any other Ukrainian missile. President-elect Donald Trump's pick for National Security Advisor, Mike Waltz, said he was not briefed by the Biden administration ahead of time.
It's another step up the escalation ladder, and nobody knows where this is going. President Trump is talking grand strategy here. How do we get both sides to the table to end this war?
On Monday, several NATO allies faced what appears to be the sabotage of crucial undersea cables that connect Germany with Finland and another connecting Lithuania and Sweden.
Suspected sabotage suggests this could be a Russian reaction to the U.S. and NATO allied decision to allow Ukraine to use long-range tactical weapons inside Russia, that according to a senior European diplomat.
As we steer our boat down, looking for these dangerous predators. Oh, there's a king croc right there. He must be 4 meters, 12, 13 feet long at least. I've got to be careful. So what I'm going to do is sneak up on it and jam my thumb in its butthole.
Holy crap, dude!
But I better be real careful jamming my thumb in its butthole. Oh boy, he's pissed off now.
Go, dude, go!
I'm gonna jam my thumb in its butthole now. This should really piss it off. Oh yeah, that pissed it off. But I managed to escape with only a few bruises and a shattered left testicle.
This is what, okay, I'm a massive South Park fan. This is what we call gallows humor. This is not a funny situation, but you are either, you are faced with a choice in life. You either stare down the horrors of the world and challenge them and laugh in their face, or you shy away. This program will not shy away from what seems to be World War III happening right now to sabotage President Trump and begin nuclear war with Russia. These people are psychotic, bloodthirsty animals. What the hell is wrong with our deep state? How suicidal is this? They literally want American troops on the ground in Eastern Europe fighting a forever war, your kids and my kids dying in the wheat fields of Ukraine for nothing. I am so sick of it. Today is Tuesday, November 19th, 2024. Pray that World War III does not kick off as Russia threatens nuclear retaliation for American bombs this morning being sent into Ukraine. This is a hugely important question. You want to talk about the greatest sabotage of the Trump agenda? How about that? Take the president of peace, the president said he'd solve the Ukraine war in 24 hours, and annihilate that promise by creating a nuclear holocaust, ladies and gentlemen. Putin lowers the threshold for nuclear weapons use just in time. These people, they are psychotic. We are joined today by Lara Trump, Byron Donalds, and the great Eric Prince right off the top of the show to talk about this existential threat to all of our lives and to world peace and harmony, which is why we voted for Trump. You want to talk about the way to actually attack Trump? You attack the capacity for him to do his job. Russiagate was hoax number one. This is a very real number two sabotage of the president. We must stop it. My name is Benny Johnson, and this is The Benny Show. This is a time of extreme breaking news. Ensure that you are locked in with us. Use Patriot mobile devices in order to get your breaking news. This is the cell phone company that keeps us connected on the road and in times of extreme fraught news cycles like we find ourselves in right now. Go to patriotmobile.com/Benny or call 972-PATRIOT. Right now, get a free month when you use the offer code Benny. The only Christian conservative wireless provider, patriotmobile.com/Benny today. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, here is the update as of at time of show, okay? Breaking across the world right now, Ukraine has fired its first United States-made American missile deep into the heart of Russia. You can see the images right here. The Kremlin has now threatened nuclear responses to this. This is a horrifying escalation for a war, of course, that we are 100% against. It is a war of deep corruption. It is a bloodthirsty and suicidal assault on a free and peaceful world. We want to begin this program by telling the people of Russia that the vast majority of Americans want to live peaceful lives. We are not bloodthirsty, rage-filled animals that are trying to destroy the world, crack it open and cause horrors untold. We are not that people. There's a psychotic, frothing at the mouth, ravenous group of suicidal maniacs. We call them neocons, who have brought the world to the brink time and time and time again, who have expended the treasure of our nation to the tune of trillions of dollars, $35 trillion in debt right now, and to the tune of tens of thousands of American lives that have been plunged into forever wars deep in the sand, where I personally believe we didn't belong. And now it seems like as a parting gift to President Trump's regime of peace, a President Trump who walked into North Korea to grip hands with a communist dictator who we're currently at war with. Do you realize, again, it is profound to me that we've never signed a peace agreement with North Korea. Trump goes in there and meets with Kim Jong-un, shakes his hand, claps him on the back, and they skateboard into North Korea. I want that peace. I do not want to be at war with Russia. I do not want to kill Russians. I want peace. I want peace with all people around the globe. I do not want my children to be sent to go kill your children. That is a matter of fact on this program. I think that's the Christian thing. I think that's the right thing. I think that is morally defensible. And what they are doing right now is morally indefensible, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a reckless and horrifying moment. Two really quick updates, and then we're going to get to the one of the brightest and sharpest minds when it comes to American military intellect, the great Eric Prince. Really quickly here, here's the update of what happened this morning. Now that America and American technology is being drawn deep into Russia to foment a war. Here we go.
The markets are open for trading about 2 minutes ago, and we're going to be down, at least at the open here. And when the all Dow 30 components are open, we expect to be down over 500 points. Why is this happening? Overnight, the Ukrainians, upon the authority of the U.S. president, were given the authority to fire what's called an ATACMS missile into Russia. An ATACMS is an Army tactical missile system. It has a distance of upwards of 190 miles. Up until this point in the war, U.S. policy has been to refrain the Ukrainians and Zelensky from using this type of weapon. Now, based on the early readout on this, they fired 6 overnight. The Ukrainians said they were targeting an Army depot that had a lot of weaponry. And they said there were secondary and third explosions there. The Russians are claiming that they shot 5 out of the 6 ATACMS out of the air. So when the dust settled, the Russians now are talking about their own nuclear charter and when and how they use it. So that's what's happening in the Ukraine war. We're going to keep a close eye on this story.
This is psychotic. You didn't vote for this. I didn't vote for this. We voted for peace. We voted for a president who said this in a town hall with CNN. He said, when asked about the Ukraine war, this is at the height of the kickoff of the Ukraine war. I believe this is from 2022 or 2023. ALX, help me out. Donald Trump said, I will solve the war. I don't want people dying. This is what we voted for. He's been consistent on this talking point. Here we go.
What do you, can I just follow up on that? You said you don't think in terms of winning and losing. Mr. President, can I just follow up on that? Because that's a really important statement that you just made there. Can you say if you want Ukraine or Russia to win this war?
I want everybody to stop dying. They're dying. Russians and Ukrainians. I want them to stop dying. And I'll have that done. I'll have that done in 24 hours. I'll have it done. You need the power of the presidency to do it.
But you won't say that you want Ukraine to win. You
know what I'll say? I'll say this. I want Europe to put up more money because they're in for 20 billion. We're in for 170, and they should be. And they should equalize. They have plenty of money. They should equalize. I got with NATO, when I sat down, I got them to put up hundreds of billions of dollars that they weren't paying under Obama and Bush and all of these other presidents. That's why they're able to help them fight the war because of the money I got. But I want Europe.
What's happening in Ukraine,
I want Europe to put up more money because they're laughing at us. They think we're a bunch of jerks. We're spending $170 billion for faraway land, and they're right next door to that land, and they're in for 20. I don't think so.
When it comes to what
President Trump there said in a perfect, ringing like a bell, endorsement of what the American people want. Do you want war with Russia? Do you want to send your kids? Or if you're a young man, if you're 20 years old watching right now, do you want to go die in some dirt field in Ukraine? Of course not. Do you want to spend your treasure? The American lives are our greatest treasure, but how about the treasure of our treasury? Moving on down the Richter scale of what's valuable in this nation. Do you want to spend untold billions, if not trillions? I mean, how much have we spent in Ukraine? In what universe does this make any sense for you, the American people? I know why it makes sense for defense contractors. I know why it makes sense for Hillary Clinton and Liz Cheney. Why the hell would this make any sense for you, the American public? How does this help your grocery bill? How does it help your gas bill? It doesn't. How does it help you buy a house? How does it help you send your kids to college? It doesn't. Create a good life, Christmas morning for your kids. It doesn't. You're already seeing the downside effects of this, and this is going to be the parting shot. This might be our new Russia gate, but it'll be literally Russia nuclear gate. As Putin explained, Russia has now revised his doctrine to lower the threshold for a nuclear response if Russia is attacked. What this article says this morning, we're going to talk with Eric Prince about this in just a second. What this article says this morning is that now Russia is saying, listen, when NATO missiles hit our territory, we view this as an attack by a foreign power, by the NATO bloc, and that opens up all of NATO. That's Europe, America, our allies, to nuclear weapons retaliation. We are in the middle of a very scary moment. The Kremlin says that the revision was published in a timely manner when asked if the response, Biden authorizing Ukraine to use long-term, long-range missiles in the region, right, to strike Russia, as Joe Biden just did. Why the hell would you do this? Russian President Vladimir Putin signed a revised nuclear doctrine on Tuesday, stating that any attack on Russia supported by the country of nuclear power could be grounds for a nuclear response. Putin signed the new policy on the 1,000th day of the Ukraine war, the day after Joe Biden authorized Ukraine to use U.S.-supplied long-range missiles inside of Russia. The doctrine also states that Russia could respond to aggressions itself against an ally with nuclear weapons. Though the doctrine doesn't specify that Russia will definitively respond with such attacks of nuclear weapons, it does mention the uncertainty of scale, time, and place of possible nuclear deterrent, key principles to the deterrence. Ladies and gentlemen, we are spiraling right now. The world has been spiraling for a very long time. I believe that nuclear war is the goal. With the sociopathic, suicidal, unhumans who currently run American foreign policy, and the way to make sure that the scales tip forever and that we never stop fighting war with Russia is a nuclear attack. And they are doing everything they possibly can to incentivize that right now. We must pull back. We must pull back. Somebody who deeply understands the moment that we live in, because he himself is someone who has fought in wars. He himself is somebody who's protected American interests in every corner of the globe. A man who ran Blackwater, founded Blackwater, and ran it. Somebody who is deeply respected by every American service member in the military community. The great Eric Prince joins the program live now. Eric, thank you so much for being on the program. I just had to sort of like build out what we're going to talk about today because I believe we're at the precipice here. What do you make of this American missile attack into Russia from Ukraine?
So look, the ATACMS missile is effectively a Scud. It is a highly accurate modern American version of a Scud missile, which you've probably heard about from the Iraq days already back in 1991. The fact is the Ukrainians have longer range drones and bigger payload weapon systems that they themselves have launched with some success inside of Russia. This is very unnecessarily provocative. The fact that it's a high-end weapon system made in America at great cost to be firing them. I don't think it's going to trigger a nuclear response from the Russians. But to me, it's like a drowning person grabbing anything on their way down of a dying, failing administration to try to really snatch any semblance of incremental victory from a complete and total disaster of this neocon war for the last few years. The other downside is every other system that the U.S. has exposed in Ukraine has, within a matter of weeks, been rendered impotent by very capable Russian electronic warfare jamming. They do a very good job of jamming the navigation and blinding our systems so that our stuff doesn't work. So we have hundreds of billions of dollars of investment in lots of stuff that the Pentagon has paid. And it's really not in that high a demand in Ukraine because it's been, like I said, been rendered useless. The Iranians have been shooting hundreds and hundreds of weapon systems and effectively an ally in this of Russia against our ships in the Red Sea. Fortunately, they haven't hit anything yet. Don't know the success of these ATACMS missiles or not. But again, this is an unnecessarily stupid move by the Biden administration. What President Trump should do is get on his airplane and fly to Baku, Azerbaijan, where there is the COP29 conference, truly neutral territory. I bet you Putin or a senior Russian would show up. It would be an amazing show of meeting them halfway to say, listen, just hang on, deal with the stupidity in Washington, but the United States is about peace. That would be a bold move, or send J.D. Vance or someone there to say the clowns in Washington don't really represent the United States anymore, although they have, unfortunately, the constitutional authority until noon on January 20.
It boggles the mind that after losing in a landslide, Joe Biden, who has prevented American missiles and munitions from being driven deep into the heart of Russia, does this on his way out. It seems like sabotage. Does it seem like sabotage to you, as though they're actively attempting to create forever war with Russia, Eric?
Look, these are decisions made by people that don't have to suffer the consequences of their bad decisions. And it's in keeping with the entire Biden administration of complete failure of military leadership, from the debacle in Afghanistan to the debacle in the Red Sea to Gaza and Lebanon and now this Ukraine fight. It's just failure after failure. And it speaks to a lack of health of our society, that our elites do not bear the consequences of their bad decisions in forever wars. You know, in the Roman Empire, at the Battle of Cannae, probably the single biggest loss of life of the empire ever, they lost 80,000 people. And the next month, when the Roman Senate met, 40% of the people weren't there. Why? Because the Roman senators actually went to battle and perished in battle and lived with the consequences made in the battlefield. The idiot Washington elites don't have to live with that decision anymore. And that's why they keep sending people off to die. It's why we had 20 years of forever war without ever resolution, because they kind of do it. It's a Comic-Con version of war. Not, hey, we're here to win and get out of our way, and we will smash the hell out of you if you oppose us. It's all kind of a half-baked war, and it's unacceptable. That's clearly what Trump is against.
It's clearly just rising the portfolios of the Cheneys and the great neocon families of this country. It's so transparent, Eric, that they're sending these weapon systems that don't function over there. They're making points on their portfolio every time Ukrainians are slaughtered in this war, and they're perpetuating it. It's utterly demonic, and they're able to kill the flower of Ukraine. They're able to destroy the youths of both Russia and Ukraine in the process and get rich doing it. It's sick.
Right. This is a war of attrition, and it's just bad math, because Ukraine is now losing more people per day than they can even grab off the streets of Ukraine to try to replenish themselves. So the sooner they end this, the better. But the other real guilty party here is Congress. Both parties in Congress, the people that sit in the Defense Appropriations Committee that take all kinds of money from the military-industrial complex, who effectively pays almost a brigade worth, thousands of lobbyists that sprinkle money in those congressional pockets to spend more money and to perpetuate this very, very unhealthy act that we've been doing, and that must stop.
I would like to have you unpack a little bit the sort of maybe a Yalta conference, right, that people would be calling for. Donald Trump saying in 24 hours he's going to bring Putin and Zelensky together. I have suggested on this program to do it over Thanksgiving. You can explain the Thanksgiving tradition to Putin and Zelensky. Have it at Mar-a-Lago. I know they have a great Thanksgiving spread at Mar-a-Lago. You're saying fly to Azerbaijan. Send an emissary from the new administration to Azerbaijan. Is this your recommendation?
Yes, there's actually a global climate conference there now. I think even the way back for Russia. Look, long term, it has always been the strategic interest of the United States to keep German industry from combining with Russian resources. All we've done with this stupid war is push Russian resources into a subservient role with the Chinese Communist Party. That is our main enemy. So the sooner we can break that, the better. And I think it is in the long term. Europe does belong. Russia belongs in a much less contentious relationship with Europe. America has way more in common with Russia than we do with China or Japan or Korea or India, for that matter, and always has. And they don't have to be our best friends. We can be frenemies, but we don't have to have the level of provocation. And it's a sad practice that's been going on for the last few years.
Eric, I know you've seen the front lines in Iraq, Afghanistan, and some of the American incursions all around the world. You've probably thought and dreamed for a long period of time as to how peace should have happened in Afghanistan. I know that you have the ear of some of the highest levels of the new Trump administration. How would you like to see peace happen in Ukraine?
What the Russians have demanded was they wanted to govern the Donetsk, Luhansk, Kherson, and obviously they view Crimea is already theirs, but they want to govern those other areas for the next 10 or 20 years and then have a plebiscite. Fine. If we freeze the lines kind of North-South Korea style, straighten them up, and let Ukraine go back to demographically reproducing themselves, because it's a wrecked society now, that's what should happen. And look, you're not going to have an unconditional surrender, a moment on the battleship Missouri in Tokyo Harbor. It's not going to happen against Russia. And all you're doing now is you're ruining the next generations of Ukrainian men. And right now, you're entering a particularly dangerous time because the fields are frozen, and now it's possible to start maneuvering. So you got a window of extreme danger that they need to stop this war. Because there's two times you can maneuver, right? In the dry of summer across a dry field with tanks, and of course when it's frozen very, very hard. And that's what you're going to have for the next 2 or 3 months. And if you're not careful, a significant Russian breakthrough, and there has been some in the last few weeks, could literally take everything east of the Dnieper River. And if Ukraine takes Odessa, then it's really not even a viable country anymore because they have no port to export from. So it's like I said, let the Russians manage those territories they've captured. Yes, it sucks to be Ukraine. This whole thing sucks, but an ugly peace is better than a very, very hot war where you continue to lose people. Make Odessa an international city, an international port that will export from both countries, and then just compete. Look at South Korean governance and what an economic miracle South Korea is versus North Korean communism, socialism. Pretty clear which economy people want to be part of. That's what the ultimate competition of this should be.
An ugly peace is better than a hot war. What a perfect way to say that. However, the Biden regime has started hot wars. The entire world sort of went to shambles under the leadership of this regime. How do you get it back? How do you pull back from the brink? Right? My ultimate question is who's profiting and why? Right? Like why so much chaos around the world? It doesn't seem to be in the interest of really anyone, not in the nations that are fighting, not in the people of America who voted for peace. Why does this continue, and how do we stop it, Eric?
I talked to someone that had been at all the different BRICS summits, okay, the Brazil, Russia, India, China Economic Coalition. And they said the previous summits was very much a parity between Putin and Xi of China. But this last one that they had just, 6 weeks ago in Russia, it was an imbalance, and Xi was clearly on top and in the dominant position. That is really bad. That is not what we want, and we do not want to fight any kind of alliance or have a contention. We definitely don't want to fight with a combined Russia, China, Iran, North Korea. That's a bad day for the United States of America. So again, settle this war, get Russia back to trading with the West, with Europe, and isolate the Chinese Communist Party. That is in our national interest, which in our national interest vastly exceeds the border security interests of Ukraine. Full stop.
Yes. Finally, some clarity here. Very quickly, Eric, I wanted to chat with you about deportations here in America. I know that you've sounded off on social media about your thoughts on that, how that could be accomplished. Many people are now talking through the logistics of what a full-scale mass deportation would look like. Can you give me your thoughts?
Well, you see the bureaucracy immediately pushing back, saying, "Well, it's impossible, or it's going to cost $100,000 per deportee," and that's just nonsense. And I think back to every congressional hearing that I was ever called to in the Blackwater days, where we were called to compare what our price was versus what the government's price was, and we weren't even in the same universe. And so I am confident the private sector can do the location, the assist in the detention, and especially the expensive part, which is the actual deportation, the management of aircraft, all the rest. The private sector can once again rally and provide cost-effective solutions under constitutional authority, and do it in a proper way. There are 1.8 million illegals that have final deportation orders already issued by the courts that have all those 1.8 have committed crimes while here illegally in the United States, and they're still on the loose, moving around our communities. That is such a no-brainer to find them and move them out. It's ridiculous. And so when the president wants that capability, it's available.
It's been so frustrating because the private sector moved them into this country. Private airlines brought them here through the CBP One app. NGOs coordinated for years to create the infrastructure and capacity building to bring people through the Darien Gap to come here. And so you're saying that the private sector that got them here, private sector can get them home.
Yeah, and I'll put my private sector against that private sector. So look, it was not just organized crime that got them here; it's industrialized crime, and so there's a lot of professional logistics capabilities and a lot of latent talent that can be marshaled when the president needs it. And Tom Gorman, the border czar, they have to know that the private sector is ready to go when they are.
Yeah, it is wonderful to hear. It'd be so excellent to see the various GWAT veterans and people that we know that have the tactical capacity to protect this country once again, and especially against the cartels. In closing here, Eric, how would you dismantle the cartels? They seem to operate with impunity on our southern border. We've seen it ourselves in Arizona. We had cartel members wave at our documentary cameras and flip us off. They care so little about that. And then they fired on a Border Patrol agent the day after we were there. So I would really like to see these people wiped off the face of the earth. How would you do it?
So, but first answer on deportation, there's a lot of simple steps the federal government can take that can make it an unpleasant place to remain here illegally. And self-deportation should be the first and best option to say, listen, you came here illegally, leave now and you'll have a chance to come back. But if we catch you, you will never be granted any kind of status here, ever. And I think you'd see a lot of people self-deport, which is great. As for the cartels, treating it like a bounty system is better. Look, the United States has invaded Mexico twice. We do not need to do it a third time. And, Pancho Villa in the early 1900s and 1845, right? From the halls of Montezuma to the shores of Tripoli. We don't need to do that again. But if you put incentives out for Mexican authorities and the privateering model, you can put a lot of very unpleasant pressure on the cartels to choose a different line of work.
So bounties,
we'll leave it at that.
Bounties and special teams throughout Mexico. Okay. Create the incentives, man. It's amazing how quickly the carrot and the stick works when you have the right government playing for the people. So Eric Prince is one of the single best and most important voices from the outside right now for what's actually happening on the inside. Must follow him on X. 500,000 Americans do. Make sure that you are locked in with one of the men who's actually trying to create peace in this world, and has done so, actually, with his own work, not just talking about it on podcasts, but like literally went out and did it. Eric, you are the man.
Thanks, Benny. Cheers.
Cheers. All right, ladies and gentlemen, rock and roll. The great Eric Prince, such a G, somebody who, quite frankly, has done this in his life. We do our very best on this program to platform the people who deserve to speak about these issues and can actually talk some sense into the governing officials that are making these unbelievably reckless decisions. Josh Hawley, moments ago, talking about this decision. He's a member of the Senate who, is on the Armed Services Committee, on the Intel Committee, and is saying that this is utterly reckless and suicidal, something you definitely don't want to hear from a senator. Here we go.
Senator Putin went on the record earlier today, basically said that same thing. Are you concerned this is going to increase the chances that he is going to move forward and put those North Korean soldiers, 100,000 of them, to deploy and ratchet this thing up even further?
I am concerned. I'm very concerned. Listen, here's my takeaway. January 20th can't get here fast enough. I mean, what Biden is doing is totally reckless, Laura. It is absolutely reckless. And let's not forget, this is a guy who the Democrats decided couldn't be trusted, didn't have the capability to run a presidential campaign. And now here he is, potentially leading us down the path to World War III with just weeks to go in his presidency. It is unbelievably reckless and irresponsible. And I just can't wait until Trump gets back into office. We've got to make it from now to then. And this policy is a disaster.
Absolutely dangerous. Ladies and gentlemen, we have Lara Trump joining our program soon. Lara Trump may well join Josh Hawley in the Senate. We'll see how it works. Governor DeSantis will be nominating someone for that seat. Will be appointing someone to that open Senate seat. I believe that this will happen officially when Marco Rubio is sworn in as Secretary of State and officially vacates the seat. Marco Rubio must be sworn in and then will officially vacate, ladies and gentlemen. Lara Trump would join Josh Hawley in the Senate there, and we're certainly proud of the fact that our show was the first ring of the bell for Lara Trump for U.S. Senate, and since then we have had a number of conversations behind the scenes about what that would look like, and it's gotten us quite excited Excited for a future is something that we saw with President Trump meeting with Zelensky. A reminder that Zelensky came to this country, campaigned against Donald Trump in his first act, talked trash on J.D. Vance, on President Trump. So we're signing munitions with a bunch of gleeful Democrats in Pennsylvania. How'd that work out for you? As Democrats got routed in Pennsylvania, lost a Senate seat that they're trying to steal right now, lost to President Trump. Republicans picking up in the House. The state of Pennsylvania is going to swing hard red, we believe, in our friend Scott Pressler when he says that he's going to Florida Pennsylvania. If you know, you know. Zelensky had to grovel to President Trump during the presidential election to do damage control over this. Just a reminder of how that meeting went.
And I also have a very good relationship, as you know, with President Putin. And I think if we win, I think we're going to get it resolved very quickly. I really think we're going to get it resolved.
I hope we have more good relations.
We're going to have, I see. Yeah, but you know, it takes two to tango, you know, and we will, we're going to have a good meeting today. And I think the fact that we're even together today is a very good sign. And hopefully we'll have a good victory because the other side wins. I don't think you're going to have victories with anything, to be honest with you. So we're going to sit down, just discuss it. And if we have a win, I think long before January 20th, before I would take the presidency, it's January 20th. But long before that, I think that we can work out something that's good for both sides. It's time. And by the way, the president knows that too. He wants to get something done. He doesn't want to do this. And so we look forward to having them meet. I look forward to being with him.
Isn't that a wonderful thing to hear? This is what it looks like to be a president of peace. President Trump marching into the DMZ, the first president ever to meet with a North Korean leader, to step on the 38th parallel while we're still at war. We've never signed a peace treaty with North Korea. And Trump literally walks in there and dunks a basketball over Kim Jong-un's head. They laugh about it. It's good. That's good for our country, for our future. This is arguably the greatest moment of President Trump's first term. I think there's a great argument to be made that this moment right here is a single most lasting and effective moment of foreign policy in my lifetime in America. Kim Jong-un, look at him. They're happy. Kim Jong-un's a Trump fan. He should have worn a MAGA hat. He has the hair for it, right? He look good in a MAGA hat. And then Kim Jong-un welcomes President Trump into an active war zone. Technically, right? They still have all the guns pointed at each other. They could take out Seoul, South Korea, like in a heartbeat if North Korea wanted to. And here's President Trump bringing peace. It's what you want to see. Nobody wants their children to die in the mud or in the sand of some foreign nation. This is what you want to see. This is what you don't want to see. Here's what Zelensky did with libs right before the election. Zelensky came here to campaign against President Trump. This guy is so cooked. I am so done with this little rat. I am so done with this little midget, Macaulay Culkin. You see the memes going around? Looks like just like Trump meeting with Macaulay Culkin in Home Alone 2. I'm so done with this dude. It's like a little sniveling, warmongering, ungrateful prick. And here are Democrats, the Democrats of Pennsylvania. You see Bob Casey, after he got his ass kicked, standing there shaking hands with Zelensky as they sign bombs. What the hell happened to the Democrat Party? Sitting there signing bombs to go kill innocent civilians, soldiers. Who the hell cares? Like people that you don't know and I don't know in countries that we have no connection to. That's a perfect meme. Pop it up. Done with it. I'm done. I'm done. Here we go. Sure, time sure flies by fast. According to reports, Donald Trump's going to demand that Zelensky wear a suit and a tie when they meet. According to reports. Ladies and gentlemen, there's humiliation that is happening across the world. Maybe this is why, right? Maybe this is why. It's a small dick energy of the Biden regime where they feel totally disgraced and illegitimate across the world stage. Joe Biden was humiliated. They walked out of he got left out of a photo. Look at this. This is where Joe Biden started his regime, and this is where he's ending his regime, in the back row. Apparently, they did a photo. They're doing these big world summit leadership meetings. I don't have any problem with these. Like, they do them all the time. They do these big, get all the world leaders together. But you can see, much like you would for a championship photo for a Super Bowl team, the quarterback's going to be right in the middle, right? Tom Brady's going to stand there with the football, and then you're going to have the more famous players in the front row so that people can see him and go, ooh, I'm going to buy their jersey. Look what's happened to Joe Biden's jersey. And this is good for Joe Biden because he was actually left out of a photo yesterday. Joe Biden missing. Here we go.
Where was he? They're telling Biden. They're telling him to wait for Biden, guys. Oh my God. Do you see him, Joe? Far left. Left to the left of the palm tree. Oh my God. But they took it. Yep. He's right there. Joe, he's behind the palm tree right now.
I don't see it.
Biden's literally doing the meme of the guy hiding behind the tree right now. I know Jerry is furiously actually making this meme. Biden's doing the meme of the dude in the yellow jacket hiding behind the tree. He hid. Joe Biden hid. They left. What a humiliation. Are you done? We're the most powerful and important nation on earth, period. I love this country. I was born in this country. I hate to see it disrespected. It makes my blood boil. All the world leaders abandoned Joe Biden, took a photo without him. Literally, the best you can possibly ask for is to have a seat at the table when big decisions are being made. They're not inviting Joe Biden to the table. It's like they all know that he's illegitimate. They all know how weak he is, and they just want him to disappear. Biden keeps doing the meme. Homer Simpson disappearing into the bushes. Here we go. Where does he go? Where does he go? Alex, you must find me a longer version of that. Alex, please, I beg of you. We'll play it for Lara Trump, who's ready, by the way. We'll play it for Lara Trump. We must find out. I must see where he goes. Where does he go? Get me the Homer Simpson disappearing into the bushes meme. Joe Biden did this at the White House. We're going to talk about this with the great Lara Trump, okay? He's joining the program live right now. Remember, Joe Biden walked into the bushes at the White House. Do you remember that clip? Great clip. We'll load it up. It was like 2 years ago. The Secret Service was like, what the hell is he doing? Joe Biden's like wanders off into the bushes. We're so happy to have Trump's back in the White House. Not the Bushes or the Bidens, actually. We're extremely excited to potentially have a Trump in the Senate. The Trump that could get there the soonest. Ladies and gentlemen, the great Lara Trump joins the program live now. Lara, I'm not gonna play the could they, should they, would they, with your potential Senate nomination. That's not what I'm here to do. You can play coy, all right? You're very polite. You're such a sweetheart. I say Lara Trump for Senate now.
You heard it here first from Benny Johnson, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. That's so nice. Look, I have kind of thrown my hat in the ring, and let's see what happens, Benny. I think that it's true that it would be nice to get some Trumps back in Washington, D.C. We know at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, you're going to have some Trumps there, but there will be an open Senate seat in Florida. I've called Florida home for 3.5 years. And obviously, having served as the co-chair of the RNC over the past, 9 months or so, and throughout the course of this crazy campaign, which I think is probably the most crucial and critical election we've ever had, it's really shown me how incredible it can be to serve. And I would love to serve as the next senator from Florida if that is what our governor, Ron DeSantis, decides. That has yet to be determined. But I put it out there that I'd be honored to assume that role should he see fit.
I've talked about it on social media before. Anna Paulina Luna came on this program and just kicked the door in before anybody else and said, Lara Trump for Senate, I'm telling you right now. We're like, yes, boom, let's go. And the more that we thought about it, the more I thought about it myself, I looked at the makeup of the United States Senate, and I looked at the demographics that voted Trump in. And if you look at the way that women voted and mothers voted, they voted for RFK Jr. They voted to make America healthy again. They voted to stop poisoning their children and to give their children a bright future. Beside the potential World War III that's happening in Ukraine, there's a war on our health happening here in this country. You have children. You take pride in your health. You make that part of what you project out to the world, being a healthy and strong mother. And that would be wholly unique inside of the Senate body.
Yeah. Well, I totally agree with you. And I think there is an underrepresentation of moms, quite frankly, in the United States Senate. Obviously, you have Senator Katie Britt from Alabama, and she's got kids, but her kids are a little bit older. They're in high school. Nonetheless, I do think that that's something that, a lot of the country's thinking about. Parents out there want to know that this country is going to be great for their kids, and not just by way of safety, which is obviously of the utmost concern for people. We do have Donald Trump coming back, so he's going to make sure that border is shut down. He wants to see crime go down around the country. He doesn't want to see us in any new wars, but we do want to make our kids healthy, and we want to know that the things we're feeding our children are not poisoning them. And I don't think everybody can say that right now. And I think we really are on the precipice of the golden age of America, but Donald Trump can't do it alone. He has to have a Congress who votes alongside of him to enact lasting change. He can't rule by executive order. We know why that doesn't work. Look what Joe Biden and Kamala Harris did the first day they were in office. They reversed 94 of his executive orders. And so we want to make lasting change for this country. We want this country to be great. We want this country to be healthy. And I think you're right. I think it would be nice to have a mom of younger children. My kids are 5 and 7, representing moms and parents all across the country. I certainly would love to do that. And I do think that I probably speak for a lot of moms and a lot of women out there simultaneously. So again, it would be my great honor.
Not to labor on this point, pardon the turn of phrase there, but truly, perhaps, if you're talking about the most underrepresented group in all of Washington, it has to be working mothers. It has to be moms of children. And that this is, I think anybody would argue, the most important group in America. We don't have an America without mothers and parents and children. And yet in Washington, D.C., you see this abject disconnect from that group of people. And those people demographically came roaring back in 2024 saying, we want representation. I think that RFK was one of the people who were first over the, through the wall for them speaking about this. But also you've seen in appointment after appointment, President Trump choosing people with lots of kids. It's wonderful to see. There was a great list this morning of 7. Some of the Pete Hegseth has, I think, like 7 kids. Elon Musk has 12.
I'm not going to catch up with that, Benny, by the way. I don't want to put any ideas out there. Gosh.
But it's been so underrepresented. You don't have an America without parents.
Of course you don't. And, I think the other thing parents are thinking about is education. I mean, look how far behind our educational system has currently fallen as it's compared to the rest of the free world. This is the United States of America. This is supposed to be the greatest country on earth. We should have the greatest educational system for our kids, but gosh, it's been failing them. The teachers' unions have had a stranglehold on our children's futures, and they should never have had it in the first place. We need to get people in office right now who are going to go in there. They're going to blow up these systems that are not serving the American people. I mean, look at the picks Donald Trump has had thus far to serve alongside of him for the next 4 years in Washington, D.C. These are disruptors, Benny, but they're disruptors in the best kind of way. We have to save this country. Now is the time. Now is the moment we're going to do that. And look, Donald Trump needs fighters right there alongside him in Washington, D.C. If I'm afforded the opportunity to do it, I would love to do it. He's got a great slate of people going in there. I can't wait for January 20th. Man, it can't come soon enough.
Just very quickly here. When I know you're close with RFK and you're very close with the Maha agenda. What did you think when you saw this photo of RFK and in what many are calling a hostage photo?
Yeah. I saw somebody post something like, they're making the new guy do drugs to make sure he's not a cop and going to rat him out. I love it. All the memes to come out of this are epic. They're absolutely incredible. But look, he gets it. I mean, look, you don't need to live your life every day eating just sprouts and organic stuff. every now and again you can indulge in a Big Mac or something, but we do want to make sure that the Big Mac is cooked in food that isn't going to kill us ultimately, and oils that aren't going to kill us ultimately. And so hopefully the next photo we get of RFK eating a Big Mac or whatever he had there, a quarter pounder, maybe it'll be a little bit healthier and it'll make us all feel a little bit better.
That's right. Beef tallow. Bring back the beef tallow.
Bring back the butter. I'm all about it. I'm a big Paula Deen fan. Bring back the butter.
That's right. Okay, so hold on. I got producers telling me you got to ask about her based chain before we move on here. Is this a MAGA chain?
What up? Yeah, what y'all think of that? Yeah, listen, Benny, here's the beautiful thing that's happened right now in this country is there are so many of us who've been out there in front and saying, obviously we're supporting Donald Trump. It's my last name. I can't get away from it. You've been a huge champion out there. So thank you for that, for standing up when maybe it wasn't as popular to stand up for Donald Trump. But what we've seen happen, the unification is happening right now. Look at every football field near you with the Trump dance. Look at a UFC ring. Everybody is unifying around Donald Trump. And I feel like people are finally, not only are they exhaling and saying, oh, thank God we're going to save our country, but they're saying, thank God I can actually talk about the fact that I voted for Trump, that I supported this man, that I went in a voting booth and proudly filled out a circle for Donald Trump and handed it in for my vote. This is an incredible time in American history. And so I love to see everybody out there, out front. So yeah, I'm repping MAGA everywhere I go, and I love it. Absolutely. No shade, no problem. Right here, ready to go.
So you're talking about the unity in America, yet there seems to be disunity for senators in the Republican majority that was delivered to them by your work at the RNC. We've said so publicly. There would be no Trump landslide without your election integrity work at the RNC. And there would be no mandate without your work. And so many of these senators, I personally believe, owe their newfound power and majority to your work, yet they are sabotaging some of President Trump's picks. It seems to be on, there might be some rocky roads ahead. We'll see. Your message about some of your father-in-law's appointments, and what would you like to see the Senate do?
Well, look, I think that there's no disputing what the American people told them on November 5th. They said loud and clear, we want to take our country back. And we know the way to do that is via Donald Trump. He is not a traditional politician. Although he was president for 4 years, Benny, he still doesn't consider himself to be a politician. He's different. And because of that, he's going to have a different slate of people. He's choosing to work alongside of him to make America great again, to make America healthy again, and do all the work right now over the next 4 years so that we do have a great country at the end of Donald Trump's second term in office. These are the people he chose, and the American people chose him as the leader. So everyone in the Senate needs to get on board with these confirmations. Now is the time, and it's not going to look like anything you've ever seen before, and that's why people voted for Donald Trump. So I would just suggest everybody take a long, hard look at the 312 electoral votes, take a long, hard look at the popular vote by 5 million votes that Donald Trump won. Look across the country at all the counties that he won. It's a bright red map, Benny. That was a mandate by the American people, and now it's up to the Senate to deliver these confirmations so that he can actually do his job.
Some of the comments are coming from Mitch McConnell. They were confirmed yesterday by Puck News and by Punchbowl that Mitch McConnell said there will not be recess appointments, and many are saying this could be an existential threat to Donald Trump's ability to appoint. Your message to Mitch McConnell.
Well, I would say that the people have probably spoken on how they feel about Donald Trump, but they've definitely spoken on how they feel about Mitch McConnell. And he is right now not representing the majority of the American people, if that is something that he's willing to do, to really thwart the will of the people via Donald Trump. It's unfortunate that that's the way he thinks he's going to operate. But I would say that that the American people always have an option here. And you can vote these people out. Maybe you want to send a loud and clear message to them. If they are not doing what you think is right, call up your senator, call up, whoever it is in your local district and make your voice heard and make it loud and clear to them how you feel about these appointments Donald Trump has put forward and that they should be confirmed.
Mitch McConnell is the single most unpopular politician in all of Washington, D.C. And it astonishes me to this day that he wields so much power being so disconnected from this. This is the map. This is the county by county map that you delivered at the RNC. Now, there's a passion project that you worked on. It was election integrity, specifically in Pennsylvania. And we've seen some shenanigans in Pennsylvania with the Supreme Court now bashing down more election rigging that is happening to try and potentially unseat a duly elected Republican senator in a massive race flip, Bob Casey losing his seat, Dave McCormick winning. Yet you see this illegal counting continuing in the state of Pennsylvania. I know the RNC is suing. Can you give us an update?
Absolutely. Yeah, this is the kind of thing, by the way, Benny, that was going on that nobody really was paying too much attention to. This is not the first time this playbook has been utilized to try and sway elections illegally. This is what the Democrats have done for a long time. We just were ahead of them in this election, and we had people on the ground and we had eyes watching everything. So we caught them in this act. And essentially what they were saying is there are undated or improperly dated mail ballots that are not able to be counted legally in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. November 1st, we had a ruling from the Pennsylvania Supreme Court, the RNC did, that said, yes, those are going to be discounted. You cannot count those legally in this election. Well, bring in the Democrat team after the election is already decided, after it's very clear that McCormick had won that race. And they said, oh, we're going to try and actually shove this down the throats of specifically Bucks County. We're going to try and get them to count these ballots that are improperly or undated. And obviously it is against Pennsylvania law. And you had that woman who, I think that video went sort of viral. Yes. One of these women on their board there who said, we don't care. We know it's illegal and we're going to go ahead and break the law. Well, no, you're not. That's why we kept a team, by the way, in every single state that still had outstanding races to make sure that if they played any games or if there was any funny business, we were ready to attack. And indeed we did. And we had the Supreme Court come out again yesterday and say, actually, the ruling on November 1st still stands. You cannot count these ballots. So here we are. Obviously, the folks in Pennsylvania are paying somewhere in the neighborhood of $1 million for a recount because of the shenanigans and funny business. But it is a rule that I think we're going to have to learn in future elections. You can't take anything for granted. You have to have your eyes everywhere and people in the room every time votes are cast and counted, even after the fact. And we're so proud of our election integrity team and our lawyers we had there on the ground. They did an incredible job with this. I will be the first one to say that if a Republican official behaved illegally and put illegal votes into the column of even a politician that I might support, I would be in favor of criminal prosecution for that Republican official. You have to be morally consistent on this issue. And I'm sure you would as well. What Absolutely. Do you think there should be criminal consequences for this clear illegal activity? Well, yeah, it's illegal. It is illegal to do these things. And until somebody is punished adequately and appropriately, I don't know, Benny, how you sway people away from doing these things. And that's the whole point. We made it very clear throughout the duration of this campaign that if you were a person who was going to act nefariously and you wanted to break the law, we were going to come after you and we were going to prosecute you, and we intend to follow that through. And we are pressuring, the local authorities in all these districts to do exactly that. This is the United States of America. It is foundational that we trust our electoral process, and we cannot allow people to just get away with this brazenly anymore. It's time to prosecute people. It's time to lock people in jail, because if you broke the law, that's what you deserve. Absolutely. We're so excited about this moment. We know that you could also catch federal charges because these are federal elections. Yeah. And so a proper attorney general would be able to deliver what we need right now, which is consequences for this to happen. Laura, we are just so excited for the work that you've done. We're so proud of the work that you've done. We wanted to say that on the program. However, we have seen you in better necklaces. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to have to do this to you live, but we have seen you. We have seen you in better. I hate to have to fact check you here, but if you're talking about the biggest MAGA necklace you've ever worn, we do have the receipts. I know. Well, you know what? That seems like that was a nice solid gold number there. I don't know. You might have to get Eric Trump to get me one of those for like a nice anniversary or birthday gift. So put in a good word for me on that one. That seems like an expensive piece. We'll be at the Trump Hotel in Chicago this week with the St. Jude's Christmas donation drive. It's going to be really exciting, and we're very happy to be there. I think so few people know about the charity work that your family does to help children with cancer in the hospital. And you actually get attacked for this, and it's shocking, it's disgusting, and so we're really excited about it. Thank you for doing that. That's amazing. By the way, for those who don't know, Eric Trump has, since he was 22 years old, had to go out of his way and done so much to help St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. He started at 22 when most kids were out partying and, living it up. Eric Trump said, what can I do to give back? Started the Eric Trump Foundation, and he has thus far donated over $40 million, raised it and donated it to St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. They're the best in the world at what they do. The idea that there are stories out there, Benny, that Eric Trump is stealing money from kids with cancer is outrageous. I have seen him negotiate pennies off of prices because he knows that those are pennies more that are going to go to the kids of St. Jude. He works harder on the St. Jude stuff than I've ever seen him work for anything in the Trump organization. Don't tell Donald Trump that. But truly, because he cares and because he knows what a great cause this truly is, it's been our honor to work with them and to be a small part of what they do. They're absolutely incredible. And thank you for highlighting them and going there to Trump Chicago. They have a great elevator they do every year to raise money for them during the holiday season. So that's very cool.
The gingerbread elevator. If you want to follow amazing patriots and future senators on the internet, you must follow. 2 million people already follow the great Lara Trump. Godspeed. God bless you, Lara. And we're fighting alongside of you.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
Ladies and gentlemen, there is a total and complete meltdown happening on Morning Joe. Morning Joe went and bent the knee to Donald Trump, groveling this past week. What would it be? Yesterday, Monday. They announced that they had done it, and they went there on Friday. And the backlash is just utterly delicious. It's our Salt That Lib of the day. Get out your salt shakers. Ladies and gentlemen, here we go.
I just want to say thank you, first of all, to everybody who was so kind last night, but also thank you. Willie, yesterday I saw for the first time what a massive disconnect there was between social media and the real world, because we were flooded with phone calls from people all day, literally around the world. Very positive, very supportive, going, understand what you do, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But once in a while I would get a text or a call from and go, oh man, I hope you're doing okay. And I call him back and I go, well, Eddie Glaude was one of them. I go, Eddie, are you on Twitter? And he goes, I am. I go, okay, well, I'm not. So we've had a good day. Mika just had a wonderful event. And it's fantastic. We're going to do all of us are going to do the best we can do. And we're all working towards a better America.
Take it day by day.
Day by day. And again, you can predict the future by shaping the future. But the reason I wanted to talk about that 1/4 of Americans voted for Donald Trump, about 1/4 voted for Kamala Harris is there's another election in 2 years. Now, I don't care who wins and how big they win. We've seen time and again, and we talk about it. Americans go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth with their picks. If Republicans, if Donald Trump, if Republican senators put in as an attorney general somebody that 3 women have testified, I believe, if I'm correct. He had sex with an underage woman at a drug-fueled party. And what I read in the Wall Street Journal was he paid 2 other women for sex. If that is something that Republican senators and Donald Trump are okay with, there will be consequences at the vote.
Look, the bottom line is that America needs a free press that is willing to speak truth to power right now, more than ever. And I think that we have to be very clear-eyed when we think about the president-elect and cover the president-elect. And I don't think you need to sit down for 90 minutes at Mar-a-Lago and kiss his ring to be able to speak truth and to be able to cover a story. So maybe they're not journalists in the true sense. Maybe they're saying that they're opinion journalists. But we have to remember that Trump is the guy who ushered in the era of fake news. He is the guy who ushered in alternative facts. He is the guy who attacked 3 black female journalists. He's the guy that revoked Jim Acosta's press credentials for asking him a question. And so I think that this president-elect, I hate to say it, would like nothing more than to have only Fox News cover him, would like nothing more than a state-sponsored media. And I don't think he can be trusted in the way that other presidents can be trusted. This is an aberration.
But the reality is he doesn't just have Fox News. He didn't do a lot of...
They're eating each other. They're eating the cats, they're eating the dogs of the people who live there, they're killing the squirrels, and now they're eating each other, ladies and gentlemen. This is what's they're cannibalizing their own side, and it's amazing. It's incredible to watch it happen in real time. They're attacking Morning Joe on The View. Morning Joe's attacking everybody else. Morning Joe viewership is down over 50%. The live stream of this program is doing more numbers than Morning Joe. And ladies and gentlemen, we did see the comment section. We had to do a quick audio fix there, and I think we are set. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for sticking with us as we adjusted something in the studio. That's what happens when you do a live show. We are ready to rock now with the great congressman from the state of Florida, a man who was an absolute heavyweight champion, not John Jones. We'll have John Jones on the show anytime. We're going to go to UFC when it's here in Tampa in a couple weeks. Ladies and gentlemen, we're talking about the great Byron Donalds, also a champ, joining the show live now. Byron, bro, you'd look good in the champ's belt. You would. I mean, I saw Trump holding it this weekend, and I was, I'm telling you, man, like, you'd look good. You'd look good in one of those.
Oh, do you want to see right now?
You have one?
Give me the belt. Bring the belt.
We didn't.
Listen, we don't play games around here, Benny.
We didn't.
We don't play games.
We didn't plan it.
Well, actually, you want me to tell you the truth? So a couple years ago, we had the EA Sports Madden Challenge, and you already know, Benny, who the champ is, baby. You already know. Make sure I got this right.
EA Sports Madden Challenge.
There you go, just for everybody. I want to make sure everybody sees it good. There we go.
So you're telling me that you could kick Tim Walz's ass in Madden because he played AOC, and that was supposed to win over the mail vote this election. Didn't seem to work out that great, Congressman.
Do you really want me to answer that? I mean, seriously. No, he can't beat me. He can't beat me. He can't beat me. No, it was a good time. I actually played my good friend Jay Obernolte out of California. Jay's a good dude. He actually asked for a rematch, but we'll see what happens, Jay. Anytime, any place, maybe. I'm kind of busy these days. Yeah. The champ. All right, here we go. All right, now the business, not a business. Let's get that out. Let's get that out of here. Now let's get to business.
You played football. Your sons play football.
My sons play.
People understand that this is a champion. This is a champion's environment that we're living in. There's masculinity reasserting itself. You're seeing every NFL star do the Trump dance, hit the Trump dance. John Jones hits the Trump dance, and now the star of USA Soccer hits the Trump dance last night. I'm sure you saw. As an athlete yourself, and as somebody who's raising athletes and your sons, can you sort of explain this phenomenon and how down bad Democrats are with young men?
You know what? I think athletes, what they respect is people who are tough, they're strong, they deal with adversity. They relate to that because being an athlete, you deal with adversity. Things aren't going to go well all the time. My oldest son is a football player at Holy Cross, defensive tackle. Last year was a tough season for him, and he vented to me one day about it, and I just told him, I said, son, if it was easy, everybody would do it. And he just locked in. I said, just lock in your preparation and your work, and then just keep working hard, and you'll see the other end of the tunnel. And he has this season. He's having a great season, and happy for him, happy for his team. They're one win away from being Patriot League champions, so go Satyrs. But that's what happens with athletes. They have to hit those walls and then work through them, and they're witnessing that with Donald Trump, especially the fact, look, President Trump, man, he was a mogul before politics. And so there was always that culture that surrounded him, that aura in the culture with him. And then he was president, went through all the craziness of the Democrats, and now he's back in a major victory, bigger than even the 16 victory. And so people in the culture, we respect winners. We love people who are double tough. That's Donald Trump, and that's why the Trump dance has gone worldwide. You're going to see it in the club, probably. I'm predicting it's going to be in the club.
Yeah, we have some. We have some of these up. I mean, you really can't. You had an actual. No, the Trump dance, Klein, please. You had a post go thermonuclear viral from your office that used the Trump dance as a bringing back joy to America. That nuked. We hope you make more of those, Congressman.
They might come out. We'll see.
So that's the champion. That's the champion's nature. But it seems like there's one group of people who don't respect the champ, even though some of our biggest superstars on the field do, and that's some Republicans who are reticent against President Trump's appointmentships, and including people that you've worked with, allies of yours in the House, who are working their way through the appointment process. Can you give us an update about that? We know that you have the president's ear and that you've worked so closely with Donald Trump. Talk us through, where does it stand right now in the Senate and the appointment process?
Well, I mean, look, first, my advice to the Senate is there's an old adage from a movie called State Property, is you better get down or lay down, because he's serious, folks. Donald Trump's not playing. He wants his appointments. And when you have a mandate, this is the largest presidential mandate since Reagan in '84. When you have a mandate, the president should be able to get his way. For the Republicans in the Senate who give deference to Democrat presidents when they put up their picks, they should now give the same deference they give to the Democrats, they should give to Donald Trump. Because I'm not hearing the Democrats talking about deference to what a president wants. Third thing I will say, you have a situation where if you want to talk about Matt Gaetz, let's talk about him. There is nobody, frankly, on the Hill who's as knowledgeable about the inner workings of the Department of Justice and all of the shady behavior of the Department of Justice as Matt Gaetz. He's been on the Judiciary Committee, his time here in the House. He's as versed in what goes on over there as anybody. We know there's a serious problem at DOJ. We've witnessed it over the last 4 years and even under the Eric Holder years. So if you need somebody to go in and clean house, Matt Gaetz is actually the guy that you want. So these senators, especially the 16 who remain from the time that they voted for Merrick Garland to be Attorney General, and yes, America, there are 16 Republican senators still in the Senate today who voted for Merrick Garland to be the Attorney General of the United States. This should be a no-brainer. But specifically to President Trump, he's talking to him. He's weighing in on this. He wants Matt Gaetz to be the next AG, and Donald Trump should get his way. Matt will make a great AG.
So you've worked with Matt. You've worked shoulder to shoulder with him on judiciary and oversight and these investigations. Yeah. Can you step back and give us something anecdotally about how you've watched Matt work? What would he bring to this office that would be specifically required in this moment of extreme partisan witch hunts and or political persecutions that have led to members of the MAGA movement being locked away as political prisoners? Matt was one of the few people to ever speak out against that with January 6 proceedings, all the way down to the raid of Donald Trump and his home and FBI at Mar-a-Lago. It's a sick rat's nest there at the DOJ, working shoulder to shoulder with Matt Gaetz. How's he going to approach this job?
Like how he does, but basically anything else. Intense preparation, really deep knowledge. I think people get caught up in the tweets or they get caught up in the speeches. What they don't see is the depth upon which he knows the history of what's gone on and been able to sift through that very quickly. So if you put him at Main Justice, he's going to have to make very quick decisions about all the various layers, some of the investigations that are going on in Main Justice, and make quick decisions around those. And because he has an understanding of the history and of the protocols, he'll be able to quickly assess that. Secondarily, and we also need to understand with cabinet secretaries, they're just not working by themselves. They have deputies, they have assistants that are working with them. I would say that the biggest thing that needs to happen at Main Justice is the political brass needs a house cleaning. And so you need to have somebody with the depth of knowledge. He has that. People see a glimpse of it in the hearings, but the only way you can really drill down on, let's say a Merrick Garland is because you already know more than he knows when he comes sitting at the table. You need that if you're going to deal with the Department of Justice or, frankly, any agency.
Yeah, so it's like this is clearly the way that you have to scrape this level of corruption off and out of these organizations. You're going to have a guy who's unpopular in D.C. going and doing that. Matt Gaetz is one of the few people that actually talked about the issue of Hunter Biden's laptop, saying, where the hell is it? FBI Cyber couldn't answer. Brought it to Merrick Garland in the hearing room. What would you like to see him accomplish if and when appointed to Attorney General? What would be some of the first things, Congressman, that you'd like to see Matt go after?
For me, it's twofold. Number one, it's really uncovering the depth upon which a lot of these political persecutions have been conducted, because you really need to get to the bottom of it fully before you could set up the structures in the Department of Justice so it cannot happen again. I think that's number one. Number two is refocusing the DOJ on its mandate of equal justice under the law. That is not a respecter of persons, not a respecter of race, not a respecter of religion. I think if you get those two things accomplished, what will happen is it restores confidence in the Department of Justice. And when there's confidence in the DOJ, then it actually helps us to restore the other foundations and institutions of our government. We're in a very perilous time. I mean, the Biden administration was very destructive with respect to how these agencies have operated. They've been operating in a rogue manner for quite some time. And so you need people in there like a Matt, like a Pete Hegseth, like a Tulsi Gabbard, who are going to go in and essentially reset the mark for what these agencies are supposed to do. And people who are being nefarious in their political designs, using the federal agencies to do that, they got to go. You got to get them out of there.
Speaking of people that got to go, our producers have pulled this list. These are the list of Republicans who voted for Merrick Garland. You shouted them out just a moment ago saying, you're going to have to justify this. I think it's unjustifiable if you vote against Matt Gaetz, but for Merrick Garland, but also Lisa Monaco, Susan Rice, Alejandro Mayorkas. There were lots of Republicans who did that. Why not give Donald Trump the same deference?
Look, I totally agree. I'm looking at one of the names right now, Lisa Murkowski out of Alaska. Lisa voted for Merrick and Lisa Monaco, Susan Rice, and all of them. So where's your vote now, Senator? In all honesty, this is really where the rubber is going to meet the road. If you want Donald Trump to be successful, you have to give him the team that he has vetted and he has decided is going to uphold his agenda, work for him. If you're going to make America great again, you need these cabinet secretaries and their deputies and assistant secretaries to, on the playing field, executing the play calls every single day. It's going to be a ton of work. We don't have a moment to waste. And we don't want a repeat of 2016 where, Donald Trump comes in and then it's a slow slog in the Senate, slow slog in the House, and then he doesn't have the opportunity to hit the ground running. The American people have spoken loud and clear. They expect us to turn this country around. They expect Donald Trump to hit the ground running. He's already doing it with respect to Tom Homan. Tom Homan's not playing games. He's going to go out there and get the job done. We need to follow that up with making sure that the agencies are working for the people of this country, not working against them politically or in any other way.
Congressman, you've been one of the leading voices in Florida. Florida now a red kingdom. You win by gajillion points every single election. You're massively popular here in this state. There are swing states, however, where real shenanigans, and you've talked about them on this program before, are still happening. Judges continue on the Supreme Court to smash down Pennsylvania Democrats who are attempting to count illegal ballots. This is something that's ongoing right now as we speak. How can the House protect our elections, put safeguards on potentially federal voter ID laws or voting days, right? How many days you can count ballots after an election? Florida does that, and I think is an incredible model. What would you suggest? Is there legislation queued up right now to solve some of these issues?
Well, I would be careful about what would happen from the federal level because time, place, and manner is state purview. I don't want to federalize that. I think if you're talking about national voter ID in federal elections, that's something we can do. There's legislation that I've been a part of that would require the Postal Service to postmark every mail-in ballot so you know exactly when it was dropped in the box. I think that's important. I think what you could do, and this is really from the mantle of the White House, the White House could put together a model election policy that they would put out there for the states to be able to take a look at. And with respect to Pennsylvania, they need to frankly really go and move to adopt Florida's law, which is also really Georgia's law. We are the best in the country. We know what we're doing. Like, our elections were done by 10 p.m. There's no reason that Pennsylvania, which has a third of the population of Florida, or half the population of Florida, give or take, it takes them, what are we now, day 10? And they're still counting ballots? Day 12? I don't even know how many days it's been. That's outrageous. The American people, whether you're a Republican or a Democrat, they deserve to know the results of the election. Not too far from when the polls close. We shouldn't be waiting a week to 2 weeks, because again, that speaks to people having faith in our systems. We want people to have faith in the voting system. The Democrats, it appears, are trying to find any way possible to make the voting process murky and disjointed. Look at California. They made voter ID illegal. Like, how crazy is that? You can't hop on a plane without an ID, but you can vote without an ID. Insanity. But that's California. I think what we could do is have model policy or model legislation that gives a blueprint to other states to clean up their voting processes.
Yeah, you need a voter. You need a federal ID to buy a Swisher Sweet or Four Loko at your local convenience store, at a Wawa. Yet you can vote, and Kamala Harris, shockingly, won all of the, this is a handy graphic that we've used time and time again, won all the states with no ID. It's interesting how that shakes out. So you're saying that the SAVE Act, which is currently legislation before Congress, could and should be passed to initiate federal voter ID in all elections. That would be an easy
absolutely.
win.
Well, the SAVE Act does that, but it also, what it does, actually no, the SAVE Act, what it does, it would make the states have to verify the citizenship status of people who register to vote. So right now in the states, it's all based on the honor system. What the SAVE Act would require, it would require states to verify citizenship before somebody's registered to vote. The other thing that needs to happen is these states need to clean up their voting rolls. If you talk to people who've lived in blue states, who do not vote in these states, they still get ballots in those states. Like, that's crazy. I was actually with a supporter the other day. They're from Illinois. She said that she votes in Florida now, but she's from Illinois. She tried to get herself off the voting rolls in Illinois, and they basically said, no, you can't remove yourself. They made it so hard for her to remove herself from the voting rolls. This is how diabolical these things have gone in the blue states. And so, look, as long as we keep winning elections as people who support the country, the Constitution, as Republicans, as conservatives, I think we're going to win the day in this. But these nefarious actions in these elections, especially after the polls close, it's really disgusting. It's like watching a football game and not knowing who won until you turned on SportsCenter 3 days later. I mean, that's crazy.
You're talking about an 85% issue. We put this up every single time we have a member of Congress on. You won't find a more popular issue than voter ID.
Yeah.
You won't find it. The polling is clear. This is from Gallup. This is the single most popular issue that Congress could pass right now.
Yeah.
With 85% of the country, it's probably more like 90% on your side. National voter ID. We can expect it, and it's wonderful to hear. It's music to our ears.
No, I agree. You're definitely going to expect it. It's something that we should definitely get done. Call on Speaker Johnson to make sure that hits the floor as soon as possible. Obviously in the next Congress, because Chuck Schumer and the Democrats won't touch it in the lame duck. You're going to need a Republican Senate in order to get that through. But we should absolutely do that. And this is a simple question for the people of America. You have Florida, which has clear rules that protects the will of voters, versus California, run by Democrats, where they have outlawed voter ID, where they do not want to protect the franchise of voting. Who's really on the side of democracy here? It's really Republicans in the America First movement that are on the side of our Constitution, on the side of democracy, not the Democrat Party.
Just really quickly here from a military perspective, because I know you have so many active duty and veterans in your district. You represent one of the highest proportions of veterans in America. We've seen some scary news this morning on Ukraine getting authorized by Joe Biden, which seems insane that he could authorize anything right now as a total lame duck, to strike deep into the heart of Russia using American munitions. This is a shock to all of us. Nobody wants nuclear war. It seems like they might be trying to sabotage the president of peace, Donald Trump. Your message to the Biden administration, who seems to be ratcheting up in a very dangerous and suicidal way a war right now.
Listen, I respect the fact that there's only one president at a time, but especially considering how monumental Donald Trump's victory was 2 weeks ago, they need to be in tight consultation with President Trump about how they're going to deal with Ukraine over the next couple of weeks. This is a very dangerous step to take. And let me be perfectly blunt, the Biden administration has been god-awful when it comes to Ukraine. They were too slow. Actually, they didn't even act when Vladimir Putin was amassing troops on the border of Ukraine. They were not acting. They watched the buildup occur, and only when Russia went in did they even try to do anything. And their first action was to get Vladimir Zelensky out of the country. And when the world was basically like, no, Ukraine has a right to defend itself, then the Biden administration reversed course and started giving them money. The money was basically no strings attached, no real mission. This is why I voted against Ukraine funding and so many of my Republican colleagues, because there was no mission to what we were doing. We were just wasting treasure with no end in sight. Now they want to do this with offensive weaponry from the United States. They need to be consulting with Donald Trump. It is clear that Joe Biden and his team have no idea what to do when it comes with foreign policy. The next president does. They need to pay deference to him because he's the one that's going to have to deal with the mess created by Joe Biden and Anthony Blinken and Jake Sullivan.
Just very quickly here, Congressman, because we know that you campaigned with Donald Trump, you spoke at the RNC with Donald Trump, you've been at his side. This is a really great moment for you. Everyone's waiting for January 20 on that day at noon for Donald Trump's stack of executive orders. Can you give us a preview about what's going to happen on day one with this administration?
Border, and more border. I don't even need to talk to him. I know that's happening on day one. Look, I think that's definitely going to happen. We have some stuff up here on the Hill we got to get through that's going to happen pretty quickly. I know debt ceiling needs to occur, and we have to figure out federal spending. But job number one is going to be securing the southern border. You could take that to the bank, and then also we're going to start the deportation process of criminal illegal aliens in the United States. And for these blue state governors and like the mayor of Boston and her crazy self, you are literally having your citizens live in a second-class America. That's disgusting. It really, really is. So we're going to be calling her out, and a lot of these Democrats, I see you, Gavin Newsom, out there. I see him. I ain't forget about him. We're going to be calling them out because the people, the Americans that live in these states, they deserve better than the terrible leadership of the Democrat Party.
Pritzker, yeah, that's right, in Illinois. You're going to have to come through me to
that
come
dude
after.
weighs 400 pounds. I'll move him, though. We'll move him. We'll move him out of the way.
There's your viral clip, ladies and gentlemen. Byron Donalds, somebody who's obviously himself a champion athlete, raising champion athletes, is a champion himself, has been a champion for President Trump. And here, this is the glorious moment from last night that's taken the internet by storm. The single greatest soccer player in all of America on the World Cup stage for Team USA hitting the Trump dance. And there it is. What a cultural moment, Congressman. The entire team, all of Team USA doing the Trump dance. It's like amazing to see.
God bless America. They got to get the swing in, though. You got to get the swing in.
All right, you coming to UFC in Tampa with us? UFC coming to your side of the state. Come on, Congressman.
I might have to be there.
December
I might have
14th.
to show up.
That's right. Let's roll in together. We'll see.
You know what? Let me check my calendar.
All right. Okay.
It's a great idea.
You can bring your belt. Maybe we'll. Yeah.
All right.
We congressmen are deeply appreciative for you. You represent this side of the state with some of the absolute greats. Everyone follow Congressman Byron Donalds. I know you already probably are. He's just a few follows away from 1 million. We get
close.
there. Yeah, we're gonna get there this week. Come on, pile in there. Get up with Congressman Byron Donalds, one of the fastest and best rising stars in our movement, and somebody who's such a defender of freedom. God bless you, Congressman.
All right. See you, Benny.
Godspeed, man. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate you sticking with us through one small technical error. We do the show live every single day, and sometimes, it just happens. We had a small microphone crack and glitch, and now it's been fixed. Yes, Killer Klein, it has been fixed. Okay, well, that's good, because just in time, we have breaking news for you. President Trump's trial adjourned in New York. This should come as no shock to you if you've been paying attention. We've had multiple legal experts on the program talking about how doomed this all was, but just an important little thumb in the eye here, ladies and gentlemen. And this is the Georgia case. Let's get to the New York news, please. A thumb in the eye. They can't say Trump's a felon without a judge who convicts him of a felony. So it doesn't matter what they try to do with the bullshit charges against Trump in New York for the documents, documents case from Stormy Daniels garbage. The judge adjourned, effectively saying we're just not going to we're just going to drop this. We're just not going to charge this thing unless a judge finds you guilty and sentences you. You're not a felon. So they keep saying, oh, Donald Trump, America elected a felon. Actually, libs, we're going to take that from you too. We drink your milkshake. It's going to be amazing. Okay, so this is, we're awaiting today. We were hoping by the time of the show, but we'll see. Today, we'll probably get these charges dropped. Most likely, get the charges dropped today. It's going to be an incredible day. We'll probably see him dropped today. Ladies and gentlemen, my producer's filling me in. They adjourned without a decision, but all of the legal experts are saying what this means is that your convicted felon president actually won't be a convicted felon. Moving on to Georgia. Oh, yeah, baby. News in Georgia. Apparently, the Georgia Court of Appeals have abruptly canceled their oral arguments in the Fani Willis Trump RICO disqualification appeal. Now, why would they do that? We should book Philip Holloway maybe on the show for tomorrow or later this week. There's so much going on right now. It's like impossible to book out the show because there's so many fast-moving news cycles. It's why we're so thankful that you've subscribed to this program. It's why we're so thankful this is the top streaming news and politics show on YouTube right now. We're thankful for all of our audiences everywhere. We do our best to book like the Eric Princes out when we have World War III kicking off. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a withering news cycle, and we are keeping up with it. Philip Holloway is a friend of the show. He's a Georgia legal expert. He says that what this means is that you will see an imminent move by Fani Willis to drop the RICO case entirely against President Trump. That's what this means. He's saying that what this is telegraphing is that the case in Georgia is now gone. So, okay, here we go. For those of you who are asking me to explain this, all I have is what you see. It's one sentence order issued without further reasoning or comment. He's saying, if it were me, I suspect this is very, very bad news for Fani Willis. This might mean the court is prepared to rule on the basis of the briefs and nothing else, but which would be bad news for Fani Willis. But he says it may also mean that Fani Willis has informed the court that all of the charges are gone. That she is imminently going to be dropping all of the charges against Donald Trump. We'll wait and see today. Alex, are we 100% updated on the New York case? If you have been a longtime member on this channel and watched the show, you know how hard in the paint we have gone against Fani Willis. How hard in the best memes. We've reported this out. We've worked with some of the greats to bring this forward, like some of the greatest legal minds, everyone from Stephen Miller, who's now Deputy Chief of Staff of the White House, to all of Trump's lawyers, the Alina Habbas, the Mike Davises. Matt Gaetz has been on the show talking about it, of course, right? And the Julie Kellys. We've worked so hard to get to this moment, and we may see all of this atomized today. Manhattan District Attorney said, according to Bloomberg, that Donald Trump's sentencing for 34 criminal charges had been adjourned. Well, what does that say? Okay, so now there's confusion here. We'll see, ladies and gentlemen. Apparently, this was an incorrect reporting by Bloomberg and they may be killing the entire case live right now. We'll see. Good luck. Good luck sentencing a sitting president. Jackwagons. I'm done. We're so excited for this moment. It's been a long ride. It's been a long ride. MAGA has taken the world by storm. In case you need any further evidence of that, even low-T, ballless world leaders who LARP, live action role play, as Indians and black people in blackface, somebody who is shockingly still Prime Minister of Canada, Justin Trudeau, now admitting that MAGA is the preeminent political movement around the world and that he himself will be closing off Canada to all immigration. That's right. Justin Trudeau, in some creepy video where he decided to start the video by sitting in a chair with a very strange upward angle. This guy's such a creepy lunatic, okay? It's just like, it's so weird. The only thing that can happen when Fidel Castro's your real father and you never got to know him, and you have the daddy issues, you want to grow a beard, you want to look like your dad, you want to move down to Cuba, and we look forward to that. They're going to retire Justin Trudeau in Canada soon. We have some polling numbers out of Canada. Justin Trudeau's going to lose, his party's going to lose in a bigger, much larger landslide based on the parliamentary system than Kamala Harris lost, even here in America. Kamala Harris also lived in Canada for a while. I think that's where she gets her foghorn leghorn affected urban accent. Anyway, Justin Trudeau saying, nope, actually, we're going to shut off all immigration to Canada now. MAGA wins again. Here we go.
Immigration.
What the hell would you start a video like that?
In the last 2 years, our population has grown really fast, like baby boom fast. And increasingly, bad actors like fake colleges and big chain corporations have been exploiting our immigration system for their own interests. So we're doing something major. We're reducing the numbers of immigrants that will come to Canada for the next 3 years. Today, I'm gonna let you in on what happened, where we made some mistakes, and why we're taking this big turn.
People are so done. See, people are so over this like low T levels of leadership. It's the music and the sitting and the sighing and the lisping. They're done with it. They're done. That Tom Homan clip, ALX from yesterday. I know it'll take a second to grab it. Danny, it's in the productions from yesterday. Tom Homan on Fox News saying, oh yeah, let's compare and contrast the way that a man actually deals with criminal aliens flooding the nation and committing murders and crimes, pillaging, raping, and versus the soylent Justin Trudeau advert for critically low male testosterone, which is what that looked like. That was actually how all erectile dysfunction ads start. Is that Justin Trudeau ad? This is it. That doesn't it look like let's talk about erectile dysfunction. Donald Trump inspired the erection. Erectile dysfunction. It's a problem that many men face. There's no that's exactly. There's no shame in it. Let's start having real conversations. You and me and us men together. Come on over here. You can cry on my shoulder. Well, your tears may wipe off some of the black paint on my skin, since I am actively doing blackface. How's he survive? How do you do it? How's he do it? What Canada? Be done. Canada's done. The polling shows that he's going to lose hundreds of seats. The Liberal Party will lose hundreds of seats. Will be the third most powerful. They'll drop down to number 3 as the most powerful parties in Canada. So Canada, don't worry. We're going to help you save your country. Here's what it looks like when actual men are in charge of a nation. Serious men. This is what the adults being back in charge look like. Here we go.
A lot of people have wondered, how is this going to work? So how will it work?
Well, look, I think the president's been clear on the stage. As far as the deportation operation, we will prioritize public safety threats and national security threats because they pose the biggest danger to the United States. He's got 3 rails. So we'll do the deportation operation with the priorities I just talked to you. Allegate. That'd be the priorities. Second thing is secure that border. Lock that border down and catch and release and secure the border. The third rail is we got over 300,000 missing children. that that over 500,000 children have been trafficked into the United States. This administration released them to unvetted sponsors, and they can't find 300,000 of them. And based on my 3.5 decades, some of these children are in forced labor. We already found some in forced labor. Some are in forced sex trafficking. Some are living with pedophiles. We need to save these children. That's going to be the third rail.
But what?
Yeah, baby. Yes. Save the children. Nobody talked about that. Kamala Harris, the closest Kamala Harris ever had to come to answering that was Bret Baier, that epic interview. We still have mad ups for Bret Baier for saying, how many criminal aliens? You've let 10 million in. How many criminal aliens do you want to let in? It was great. Remember that interview with Fox News? Kamala came in late, left, like in a panic, screaming. It was an awesome moment. It was an awesome moment. It was a great. What'd you say, Killer Klein? It was a 20-minute interview. That's right. They hyped it all day. It was a 20-minute interview. She screams. That's right. We prepped. We do so much prep for the show. We did more prep for the show than Kamala Harris did to actually do the interview. And then she left. They fled. It's incredible. It's incredible. We hope that Kamala Harris takes the advice of many Hollywood celebrities and self-deports from the country. We hope that this happens to celebrities, to criminal aliens that are here. Kamala Harris apparently has taken some of our advice. She's flown to Hawaii. Do you know this? Kamala Harris is on vacation in Hawaii right now. Oh, baby. Good job. All right. You know what? Go back to Montreal. Seriously. That's where Kamala Harris was raised. That's where she allegedly worked at McDonald's. I'm sure they're hiring, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm sure Justin Trudeau will allow one more immigrant into Canada. One more. Kamala Harris. You can keep her. And Taylor Swift, who's currently into Canada. You can keep him. Yeah, it's good. You can keep him. You can take him. Actually, you can take him back, right? Kamala Harris can go back to Montreal. Amazing. Okay, we have some exciting news for you, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to be going to one of our favorite Trump properties this week. We'll bring you along with us. We'll do content from there, shows from there. The Trump family has been so wonderful to little children with cancer. They get attacked for this. You know, Eric Trump was investigated for his work with St. Jude's. You know this? I mean, it's amazing. You heard Laura talk about it. We're going to go there. We're going to bring you like some of the Christmas magic that the Trump team is doing. We have some more Christmas magic for you. We have an official Benny Show ornament that's getting made right now. Hold on. Let me check my chat. Let me check my chat and see if we actually have it. Hold just a moment. Let me see if we actually have it. If not, it's gonna look like this. We're gonna launch this today. It's gonna look like this. Can you just take the actual image there? We're going to have our Benny Show. I'm dreaming of a red Christmas ornament. The number one ornament to send to your left wing, the number one ornament to send to your left wing and lib friends to give us Christmas presents, to troll your liberal aunts and uncles, ladies and gentlemen, who ripped their Kamala Harris signs down pretty quickly, didn't they? Yeah, you can give them this as a lasting memento to the red Christmas. And that map's only going to get redder. It's going to be exciting. We're entering the Christmas season with joy in our hearts, with thanksgiving in our souls. Ladies and gentlemen, our verse of the day from Proverbs. I love our old verses from Proverbs 27:17. Iron sharpens iron, one man sharpens another. Ladies and gentlemen, it's so important for there to be the ability for us to, as a movement, sharpen each other. We love the feedback from you. We love being able to do things and work with this movement. I mean, listen, we love the chat. We love you in the chat. Iron sharpens iron. How many, Alex, Danny, how many, these are my producers if you're new here, how many times have we looked to the chat for advice, for polling, for commentary that we want covered, for things you want us to talk about on the show? We have the number one news and politics show right now on YouTube, and we're humbled by that. But we look to you to make sure that we're using the muscle of this program in order to deliver for you. Iron sharpens iron. You're sharpening us. We're sharpening each other. It's a movement. It's really special. It's freaking awesome. It's amazing. We need to start our polls of the day. Once again, we're going to kick that back on us. It's been a drinking from a fire hose around here. Our polls of the day. If you wish to support us, please sign up for the Benny Brigade. You can go to BennyJohnson.com. We have the store there. It's where our filthy animal Christmas ornament is going to be, and the red Christmas ornament is going to be awesome. And if you want to sign up as a member or subscribe to us on X, there are other ways to support us. We're going to be doing some Christmas work around the Tampa Bay area. We're going to be setting up nativity scenes, actually. Time to put the Christ back in Christmas. We're going to be setting up nativity scenes in Tampa Bay, and we're going to have a form on the website that if you want us to come and set up a nativity scene in your yard, we're going to go do it. Why not, right? Because that's actually what it means to be connected and what it means to bring to joy unto the world, right? Yeah, joy unto the world. This is real joy, right? And that's why we stay centered on this program. The joy of victory, the joy of faith in our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, and the joy of springing eternal of a new season. And that's what we're in right now. Do you feel that? Feel that vibe shift? You feel that? We certainly feel it here on this program. We appreciate you. We march with you. We stand beside you. Upright, men. Stand upright, right? And march with us. We're going to win. We did win. And we're going to keep winning. It's your boy Betty. See ya.
And there's no turning back. You understand?
Yes, I do.
Criminal officers! Get your hands in the air! All this stuff is impounded. You got a warrant? Sure, here's my warrant.
The better half of the 20s was a period of excessive sodium for the corrupt left-wing Marxists. The President and Attorney General created an oversupply of bootleg liberal tears. Project 2025 demanded they be destroyed.
Those that want people to believe that you want retribution, that you will use the system of justice to go after your political enemies.
Maybe smash a few things along the way.
As we steer our boat down, looking for these dangerous predators. Oh, there's a king croc right there. He must be 4 meters, 12, 13 feet long at least. I've got to be careful. So what I'm gonna do is sneak up on it and jam my thumb in its butthole.
Holy crap, dude!
But I better be real careful jamming my thumb in its butthole. Oh boy, he's pissed off now.
Go, dude, go!
I'm gonna jam my thumb in its butthole now. This should really piss it off. Oh yeah, that pissed it off all right. But I managed to escape with only a few bruises and a shattered left testicle.
So, where the truth gon' be? Faith and freedom on your TV screen. Stand up strong, battle through the night. The Benny Show's here, bringing liberty to light. From the speeches to debates, Benny sharp like a blade. Cutting through the lies, watch the truth cascade. With the warrior's heart, this man never fades. You know it's prime time when Benny invades. From saving the nation to stories untold, the Benny Show's a storm, see the truth unfold. Stay in the loop, let freedom take hold. Salting all the libs, soul never sold. It's the Benny Show, where the truth gon' be. Faith and freedom on your TV screen. Stand up strong, battle through the night. The Benny Show's here, bringing liberty to light. Liberty to light. Bringing liberty to light. Liberty to light. Bringing liberty to light. From the speeches to debates, Benny sharp like a blade. Cutting through the lies, watch the truth cascade. With the warrior's heart, this man never fades. You know it's prime time when Benny invades. From saving the nation to stories untold, the Benny Show's a storm, see the truth unfold. Stay in the loop, let freedom take hold. Salting all the libs, soul never sold. It's the Benny Show, where the truth gon' be. Faith and freedom on your TV screen. Stand up strong, battle through the night. The Benny Show's here, bringing liberty to light. Bringing liberty to light. Bringing liberty to light. Bringing liberty to light. Bringing liberty to light.